Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Now I know I haven't done any in quite some time, but as some of you know, my monitor failed and it's taken me quite some time to be able to get a new one. I did do 2 videos whilst I was waiting to get a new monitor, and I was using a very old decrepit laptop, and it was really slow and it was really difficult to get anything done on it, so I felt I had to wait until I got a new screen, which I do have now, thankfully. So I can now get back to what I was doing. And now today we're going to be looking at a band I've checked out a couple of times now, I think, a band called Rearmed. And we're going to be looking at their most recent track called Monoeyes. They actually messaged me a little while ago asking me if I'd like to look at this track, and unfortunately it was just after my monitor broke, so I've not been able to get around to it until now. Now, I don't actually have any lyrics for this song at all. I've quite enjoyed Rearmed's music. I don't know if it's a lyric video. It just says it's a visualizer, so it might just be a random picture on screen. I don't know. We'll have to see. So, yeah, we'll jump into it and see what we've got. So, Monoeyes by Rearmed. Let's have a look. Oh. Well, there we go. Monoeyes by Rearmed, and it's at their 20th anniversary EP out January 27th. I'm assuming that's next year. Otherwise, they're a little bit late telling us about it. That was a great piece of music. Musically, it sounded great. It started off quite deceptively with that sort of electronic keyboard bit going, and then it went really hard, really heavy. It sounded great. Mixed vocal styles thrown in there as well. When it came to like the main chorus, you had the sort of harsh growled vocals, then you had a slightly higher pitched version, and you had some more or less cleaner lyrics thrown in there as well. Vocals, should I say? It sounded great. Now, as you saw, it was a lyric video. Had I known that, I would have actually watched it on mute and written down the lyrics, as I did when I covered the most recent Bloodywood video. But unfortunately, I didn't know that, so I didn't do that. However, the lyrics seem to be talking about the division of the planet at the moment. Monoeyes, the way it seems to suggest is like monochromatic vision. You're only seeing black and white. It's either one or the other. There's no middle ground. There's no grey area whatsoever. It's like love or hate. There's nothing in between. And there's lines in there saying, color blindness multiplies. We can't see what's in front of us. I can't remember the exact lines, but there was a line saying minds unable to unify. So we're unable to people aren't able to get along anymore. They're not coming together as they should do because everything is so black and white. They're concentrating on something completely different from someone else, and they don't care what the other person is thinking about. They're only concerned about themselves. It's like when I did the Bloodywood video, it was speaking about politics and stuff like that, and I mentioned the way politicians are at the moment. You've got one party saying one thing and one party saying another thing, and they're both trying to make you hate the other group. We shouldn't be doing that. We should be coming together. We should be trying to unify the planet rather than separate the planet. It shouldn't be it's my way or their way. It should be let's come together and make it our way. And there's such division across the planet at the moment because people are unable to not be so self-centered and selfish. They're only concerned about what they are interested in. They don't care what anybody else wants or needs. They're only caring about themselves. They're only looking inwards. They're being myopic, short-sighted. They don't care. They are solely concentrated on themselves. So, the title of the track, Monoeyes, it could mean several things. It could be, like I said, monochromatic eyes, seeing black and white, or it could be monoeyes, mono meaning one or singular, concentrating, looking only at one thing, or looking at oneself. Only concentrating on themselves or concentrating on the one thing that interests them. That could be what the title means as well. I'm not entirely sure, but, the title itself has so many meanings with what I perceive the message of the song to be. Because, they're talking about people being unable to unify because, people are only thinking about themselves. They're only concentrating on the one thing that interests them. They're not caring about other people. So, it's quite a accurate and potent message for this time, in the world, because like I said, there is so much division, where we've got people telling you to hate somebody else. What we shouldn't be doing that. We should be coming together, as a unit to progress. You've got these people that are slagging off people that are trying to save the planet. Why? Why are you insulting, for example, Greta Thunberg, or however you pronounce her name? This young woman is doing her best to try and help save the world, save the environment, to extend life on this planet. And you've got people that are slagging her off. She's trying to make it so that you can live longer, so that you've got a nice place to live. Why are you conflicting over that? Oh my god, I don't want the planet to last any longer. I want it to burn out so I die in a burning fireball. What? She wants to help save the planet. How are there people against this? It's ridiculous. But there is always going to be that sort of thing. You will always get these stupid asshats that will always find a reason to argue against anything. You could say the most reasonable and most logical thing in the world, and there will always be someone who will argue against it. Just because they want to be that person, because they don't want to go along with the mainstream thing. Like the other day, I saw something talking about Tom Hanks, and there was one person in like a sea of other, a whole bunch of other people saying how great Tom Hanks is and what a wonderful guy he is, what a wonderful actor he is. He's a great person, lovely human being. And there's this one person right in the middle of it who had to go and say something cruel, horrible, and mean about Tom Hanks, saying what a horrible, what a crappy actor he is, just because he wants to get the attention, just because he wants to stand out from the crowd, because he wants to be that edgy person who gets, who doesn't like the thing that everybody else likes. You'll always get that one person. We shouldn't be trying to divide the world. We should be bringing it together. Went on a little bit of a rant there. But, this is a great thing about music. It can stir up conversations about these sorts of topics. It gets people talking. It stirs up emotions within people, and that's why I love music so much. And when it's a great piece of music like this was, this was a fantastic piece of music. I'm definitely going to go and listen to it again after I've done this video. It's a great piece of music, brilliantly performed. The music sounded great. There's a little bit of everything in there. It started off quite deceptively quiet and then came thundering in really hard, really heavy, but it still had those electronica elements in the background that sort of crept in every now and then. It sounded great. A fantastic piece of music. But I don't know what else I can say about that, so I'll leave that as it is. Now, if anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so by all means. You can drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you could even message me through my Patreon, where you could also help to support this channel, which would, of course, be a massive help to me, since every piece of content I create for this channel immediately gets demonetized the moment I upload it, which is a little bit frustrating, but, it is what it is. There's an option in Patreon where you can get your suggestion jumped to the front of the queue if you should so desire it. That's limited to only once a month, and that's just to be fair to everybody else who makes a suggestion through other means such as Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram comments. And if you do make a suggestion through YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram comments, do know it could take me a while to get around to your suggestions, since I do get suggested so many new tracks every single day that my list grows faster than I can record the videos. But I do write down every suggestion I get, so it should get done eventually. It just might take me a while to get around to it. Also, MetalHead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose goal is to put an end to hate crimes. And one of the main facets of that is hate crimes against people of the alternative community. And it's something I believe in very strongly, and it's something that very frequently sort of gets brushed over. People just sort of ignore it and don't pay it any attention. And that's something that really needs to change, because it's a very real problem that's been going on for decades. And, we're not just talking about people shouting insults or, shoulder ramming someone from the alternative community as they're walking down the street. We're talking about brutal, violent crimes where people are getting hospitalized, sometimes with broken limbs and sometimes even more life-threatening injuries. And, every day we hear about all these other hate crimes like sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, religious hatred, ableism, etc. We hear about these on a daily basis, from the most heinous and violent of these crimes down to the most petty and pathetic and childish of these crimes. We hear these in every facet of the news on a daily basis. But as soon as it comes to someone from the alternative community getting violently and brutally assaulted, nothing ever gets said. You know, the last time there was a widespread conversation about this sort of thing was 14 years ago, when Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Rob Maltby were violently and brutally assaulted by a group of 5 or 6 people who beat them so severely, they stamped on their heads so violently that they both ended up in comas. Now, Rob Maltby, he thankfully survived the assault. He was in a coma for around about a week and a half, maybe a little bit longer. But Sophie Lancaster was in a coma for 13 days before she succumbed to her injuries and she died. This young woman was 20 years old and was beaten to death just because of her taste in music and clothing. Now, when this happened, this was all over the news, as rightfully it should have been, and over time the story faded into the background, as you'd expect it to. But in the 14 years since that happened, we've not heard a single story like it. You know, nothing has been said since. Yet there have been several hundred, if not several thousand, similar incidents in that time. The only major difference is that no one has died as a result. And that's the key feature there. That people won't speak about this unless someone dies. And that's unacceptable. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to lose their life before this gets spoken about. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to die before something gets done. And that's what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want to bring more attention to the fact that this is happening. They want more people to talk about this. They want there to be more recognition of the fact that this is a very real problem and deserves as much attention as all of these other hate crimes that get spoken about on a daily basis. Because the more we ignore it, the more it's going to happen, because the people committing these crimes feel that they can get away with it because no one's going to pay any attention to it. And if we carry on ignoring it, it's only a matter of time before what happened to Sophie Lancaster happens again, and we cannot allow that to happen. You know, they don't want to see another family go through what they went through when they had to watch their daughter slowly die over the course of 2 weeks because of the small-minded actions of a group of people who couldn't handle the fact that somebody liked something different to them, that not everybody likes the same thing. These violent crimes against people of the alternative community deserve as much attention and as much, you know, they deserve to be spoken about just as much as any other hate crime. But at the moment, they're not getting spoken about, nothing's getting done, they're just getting ignored. And that needs to change. So if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there's a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their overall goal is, because they can explain it a heck of a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any small way, obviously you don't feel obligated to do so, but if you can help them out in any small way, whether it be a small donation through their website or something as simple as like one of these Sophie wristbands, maybe even that one, you know, they've got a whole bunch of other really cool stuff going on over there. But, you know, the sooner we get more people talking about this, the sooner we bring more attention to this, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.